Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Xah Talk Show. If you are watching this offline, play at 1.5 speed because I ramble. If you are watching this live, enjoy and comment required. Okay, comment. And we're gonna code. So what we're gonna do today? We're gonna code. So this is gonna be emacs Lisp coding, pure emacs Lisp coding, maybe for 30 minutes. Okay. So what is the job? Well, the job is, let me show you. So you see this format CSS code web page. Now this page is on Xah Emacs tutorial on xahlee.info. Search for it, you'll find it. Emacs, practical Emacs, and everything you want to know, and Emacs Lisp. Okay, the artificial intelligence programming language, the daddy of, that's Lisp. Okay, so on this website, you'll find formatting CSS code. Okay, so for example, I go to Lisp basics, Xah Emacs packages, Xah Emacs commands, and search for format, and you'll find my code for formatting CSS code. So let's do a demo. So what we're gonna write the command so that, let me show you, okay? So CSS code, so this is my CSS code for my website, about 1,000 pages. Now let's say I screw up the formatting one line, but it still works, yes. Okay, but if I delete this part, then the font is gonna change. Refresh, you see. So I don't want to delete that part, but I want to like screw up the format. And back to the browser, refresh, you can see it still works. Now I want to automatically format it. So I press a key, press. Fantastic. You see they become well formatted. I can, do several things like that. Save, format it, press the key. Fantastic and beautiful. So you can see the command code on the pink window. It will show Xah CSS format buffer, and on the left side is the key I press. I'm using a Vorak keyboard layout, and I'm using xahfly keys, the most efficient key binding system for Emacs, and you can get it's free. There's a video you can watch, xahfly keys. There's a video, and there's the most efficient, more efficient than Vim. Okay, that's what I'm using. So back to CSS. We demonstrated that code. Now where's that code? So describe key, press. You can see Xah CSS format buffer right there. And jump to the source code, open it, expand window. So here's the code. And in this code, you can see there is a URL. So open that page and show in browser. We jumped to the corresponding home page for this command. Okay, so I have like hundreds or thousands commands. Every day I code Emacs Lisp. I edit, I update this file. So normally what I do is that, for example, I just modified, I just improved this code. So once I done that, I have to like go here, copy the whole function, copy defun, then jump to the URL, open it, then show in browser, okay, back to Emacs, then search for pre-tag, for example, pre, right there. So now, then I have to like delete whatever is in the pre-tag, delete it. Wait, select it, delete. Okay, then add Emacs this code, then paste the new code there, then syntax correct, then show in browser. So it's kind of tedious. So what I want to do today is, while I'm on this code, after I'm done editing it, I just press a key and it automatically update, the corresponding page on my website. That is what we're gonna write today, okay? So far so good. Hello, Ugo. Hello, Tamid. Okay. So let's begin coding that. Okay, let's code this command. So this command is part of Emacs built-in. So this is called vcdiff. Okay, you don't need Magit. If it's for Git anyway. If you know what I'm talking about, good. If you don't know, don't never mind. So you don't have to use Magit. I stopped using Magit since like four or 5 years ago. So vcdiff is building. Okay, so that's when you want to know the difference between, for example, let's update the date, then save it, then call vcdiff. You can see this is how it differs from the Git original. So anyway, undo. Okay, save it. Now vcdiff again, no change between working, revision, and work file. Okay, that's good. Okay, now let's go back to the talk show. So we're gonna write this code. So let's commence coding. Okay, update current define to corresponding website. That is, copy the current define function, find the corresponding website, local URL file path, update the code in that file. Okay, update the code in that file in the HTML pre-tag. Okay, so first of all, define. So we need to select the define. Okay, so how do you select the define? There's a function. Describe function mark define. I believe yes, it's built in. So there is a function mark define. Mark define, put mark at, okay, position a point at beginning. The define mark is one that contain point. So far so good, so far so good. Play at 1.5 speed. Okay, so if the mark is active, it is something. Okay, so what okay, so we need to go faster. Okay, so here's the source code for mark define. By the way, there is a problem with mark define. You see, if your code is not formatted in a traditional way, then mark define will fail. Okay, so let's see, is there a mark define? Is there a key for mark define? Yes, space TD. Okay, so space TD, space TD. Okay, let's try again. Space TD, yeah. So, but if your code is not well formatted, sometimes it will fail. Space TD, okay, it works. But I have a documentation about that. So just go to Emacs tutorial page, go to the search button, and search for I don't think it's mark define. Search for format. Okay, so I documented this problem. So reformat sentence to lines, change file, new line format, format CSS code, format HTML code, format JavaScript, format PowerShell, format lines for source code, format to long lines, automatic formatting Emacs Lisp code, format Golang code, format Python code, code auto formatter, semantic refactor failed. Yeah, that there are several packages that does auto formatting of Emacs Lisp, but most of them, like as far I think there's only one that's good, but anyway, so yeah, I think this one is good. Is it still there? Okay, so I hope he's doing well. And when's the last update? 2005. So it's still kept updated. So I think this is the best one. Okay. auto format Lisp code, but I haven't tried because it's got, it requires Python and stuff. So anyway, what I want to do is actually to show where is the problem. Okay, go back. I want to show the problem of a situation where if you have a valid emacs Lisp code, however, you do not have it formatted in a traditional Emacs way, then several problems for different, it doesn't work. Okay, I have written about it somewhere here. Okay, I want to find it. Okay, I'm not sure where is that. So now I become insistent. We must find that problem. Okay, you guys understand? So let's try to find it. Emacs Lisp miscellaneous and Emacs Lisp miscellaneous essays. So these are a bunch of some of them are old essays criticizing emacs Lisp problems. So what I want to demonstrate is the okay, so what do I search for? So let's see. Function programming function output should always have the same structure. Emacs Lisp problem. Trim string rejects Lisp problem. Lisp 1 versus Lisp 2 issue. Controversy of common Lisp. Emacs Lisp versus JavaScript. Emacs Lisp fixed its namespace problem. Okay, so text processing, Emacs Lisp versus Perl, relation to cursor position, begin end of matching pairs in source code. Validate file links, function type, syntax coloring, meaning of Lisp list, symbol versus string, what is a function fn, sum and every. So that those are essays about Emacs Lisp, the language. Emacs Lisp naming convention, Emacs coding style, let forms, text processing versus structured. Common Lisp, why Common Lisp sucks indeed. Emacs Lisp bytecode manual. Okay, that's the manual. Emacs Lisp history, that's another long article. So it's not here. Function as replacement string, multi-pair replace unsorted. Okay, so function frequency, list of all hooks, beware region boundary change, directory path should end in a slash, unable to undo in buffer, problems of thing at point, define var doesn't override, narrow to define eval define bug. There it is. Okay, so let me show you a code. Okay, so copy that. So here's a code, and let's comment this out. Let's just comment that out. So we got the valid code here. Is it valid? Let's see. XX test interactive. Let x set x equals to evaluate it. Okay. Now I can call XX test. Call with without output. Yeah, because it doesn't. What does it return? It returns set q. What does set q return? I think it returns the value. Okay, describe function set q. Return the return value of the set q form is the value of the last value. So close that. So in this case, it's gonna be this vector. Okay. So this is a valid function. Why? Because we just run it. For example, we just run it and show message buffer. So run it, XX test. Okay, return nothing. But we can also run it by. Okay, so by. Like that. So we run it. You see, now you can see it returns 3, 4, okay? So this is a valid code. Now, to make sure, let's add this. Okay, let's declare lexical binding true. Save it. Go to the directory. Byte compile. Yes. Okay, unused lexical variable x. Okay, so let's fix that. Let's just make sure. Okay, so set q, then let's say messages x. Let's just print it. Okay. Now evaluate the buffer, make a backup, go to the directory, byte compile. Yes. Is there error? No error. Okay. Open the byte compiled file, delete it, close it. Okay. Now this is a valid function. But now let's try the narrow to define. What it does is that usually in Emacs you have a narrow function. So if you call narrow, you can see narrow to region. It just hides. It shows only the selection. The rest of the buffer, the file, is hidden. This is useful when you do find and replace. You only want to replace, for example, several paragraphs. You don't want to do find and replace before that or after that. So you can do narrow to region. So Emacs then pretends the file is just the section you want. Okay. So if you want to, so after you are done, you can call widen. Then it shows the rest of the file. Okay. So very useful. Now that command is called, let me show you. Describe function, narrow to region. You see, they have several versions. The most general one is narrow to region, which means you have to select a region. Then, for example, up to here, then I call narrow to region. Then it just shows this part, So I cannot go down, I cannot go up, Then I call widen to a narrow, Now I can see. So now, but when you call narrow to region, you see there are several more specific convenient functions. You got this one, narrow to define. So what that does is that you don't have to select the function first, then call narrow. You can just, if your cursor is inside the function, you call it, it'll just narrow to this function body, right? So now let's try that. Okay, so let's try that over here, but over here, for example, let me show you how it works. Let's see. Okay, now this is more traditional, formatted in a traditional way. So my cursor is here. Now I call narrow to define. Do it. Oh, beautiful. You see, I cannot. You see, the whole buffer just showed that. Okay, now widen. Okay, now, but if my cursor is here, when you are on a function, where the formatting is not done traditionally, but however it's valid Emacs Lisp code. Okay, now you do narrow to define. Let's see if it works. The last time I tried, it failed because the idiocy of the Lisp, common Lisp and Emacs Lisp people, because they have obsession about certain paren, and because they got a code. Okay, anyway, it should narrow to this function because this is syntactically and semantically valid Lisp code. But now if we do it, it got fucked up. Can you see that? This is not a function, that's a let. Let's widen. Okay, let's try it again. Widen. So my cursor is here. Let's say, let's call narrow to region. Let's see. Do it. That works. Okay. Now widen, okay, widen. Now if my cursor is here, let's do it, narrow to define. It got fucked up. Can you see that? That's not define, okay? Now widen again. Now, however, if my cursor is here, let's say even here, it will work because this part of code is well formatted, okay? So let's see, narrow to define. You see, that works. So what does that mean? The significance of this is that there is a major fuck up for 30 years in the emacs Lisp, in the Lisp phonetics fuckheads. Okay, listen carefully, because this bug has been around, 30 years, but they don't know, they don't care, they don't even know most of the time, because in their mind, typical industrial programmers, you're supposed to read programmer style guide, Perl style guide, C style guide, C++ style guide, these fucking style guides, and they argue among each other, my style guide versus your style guide. There's Google style guide. There's Python PEP style guide, which is different from Google. Each language, then each corporation, they have slightly different. Then the Linux creator of Linux, he has a page about C style guide for writing Linux kernels, and in the preamble he says, get a copy of the GNU C style guide and burn. They have a fight and war. They're fucking these idiot industrial programmers. They love to talk about the style guide. How many indents should you have? Should you use a tab or space? I talked about this many times, but they don't understand. These people, they don't know a thing. So what I'm demonstrating is that there is a bug where a valid, totally completely valid Lisp code, but this narrow to define failed. So not just that, eval define also failed. Okay, like eval define. So this command, if you call it, it should evaluate this code. You don't have to move the cursor to the end and call eval last sexp. So it's kind of convenient, but it failed. You see. So this is so transparent a bug. So if you don't format in a certain way, it fails. Okay, so this is this is very much tied to their notion of lines should not be more than 80 characters. These massive code idiots in the industrial programming industry, or basically all programmers. Okay. Not all, but like 90%. They were taught that way. They don't think, they don't have a brain. They were taught you're supposed to stick to style guide. You're supposed to follow these gods. The Linus Torvalds or Richard Stallman or the Python Guido van Rossum, one of the most idiotic fuck. You're supposed to follow the guide. So you got this kind of issue. They never imagined automatic formatting, which began in Golang 2008. And Wolfram language automatic formatting on the fly, which I demonstrated, a few days ago and many times before. Okay, so that's a little rant. Okay, so I talked about all this formatting and demonstrated it a week ago. Okay, so that's July 3rd, 2025, episode 673. Format Python code, JavaScript, Golang, HTML, CSS in Emacs, and demonstration of the on-the-fly dynamic instantaneous automatic formatting on the fly as you type of Wolfram language. And not just that, your code can be typeset in mathematics and it will format on the fly well. Okay. So on that page, so actually, why don't I demonstrate that again? So let's copy that. A little digression, but this is necessity, because some people watch my, show. They they don't know. They don't know. But seeing is believing. Okay. So let me show you this one more time. One more time. I would be happy to show this 1,000 times. Okay. Magnify the code so you can clearly see. Now Shift Enter to evaluate it. Okay, this is Wolfram language code. So you got that fantastic and beautiful. This is geometric inversion, which we did a live stream about 2 years ago. Okay, now see the code. Now the code. Now you see, you see. This is what we copied. You see, there's no indentation. There is no tab or space. But when you paste it into the notebook, it automatically become well formatted. Well formatted. You see, there is no tab in front of it. You see, I move my arrow key. You see, I move the cursor. There's no tab or space between all those, before those indentations, right? But it just formatted that way. Does it sound similar? Yes. Why? Because, let me show you. Does that sound similar? Yes. Why? Because, let me show you. Okay, so let me show you Emacs blog, something. Let me just show you, okay? Format CSS code. Let's go to that page again. So you see this window, when you adjust, you see the sentences, they automatically wrap the lines. And similarly for the code part, you see automatic wrapping of lines on the fly as you change the width, and also as you type, like any word processor that do that, okay? But except the industrial coding fuckheads, the C, the C++, the Java, the JavaScript, the Python, because they don't know. They don't know. Okay, so I've been talking about this for 20 years, but the industrial coders, they don't understand. They still think to this day lines should be 80 characters long, something. Actually, they started to change the idea a little bit today. So Wolfram language, now as you adjust the window, you can see they still formatted in the right way, you see, on the fly, dynamically. You see? Can you see that? Okay, that's a demonstration of the formatting, okay, dynamic formatting. Now let's go back to what we are doing. So we talked about kind of digression. We talked about this bug problem. Okay, so let me put these windows back. Industrial coding idiots. Why are they like that? My little rant. Hi, Diego. Hi, Siddhartha. Don't know much about coding, but you seem fun to watch. That's why I joined in. Thank you. You see, why are the coders, specifically industrial coders, are like that? Why don't they know anything about, why haven't they seen anything like this? This feature in Wolfram language, by the way, you can also typeset it, okay? Shift Control N, typeset. Now can you see the fraction there? Now it become a fraction. Okay, you can also have radical, square root, and so on, and power, And this fraction, look at this y over x over y. You see, they also auto format, on the fly as you adjust the window size. Okay, on the fly. So this feature in Wolfram language has been like this since 1996. Wolfram language Mathematica version 3. Okay. 1996, but the industrial coding fuckheads, the C++, including the Lisp, especially the Lisp and Common Lisp fuckheads. Okay, I call them fuckheads because there's a tremendous hatred from me to them, because every time you mention it, they refuse, they deny, they refuse, they attack you, they call you a troll, but demonstratively, they are just incorrect, but they refuse to listen. Okay. Now, why is so back to the question, why is the coding industry, the coders, they don't know about this thing? So what I mean by industrial coders, that's typically the average typical programmers in programming industry. For example, those people who work at Google, Microsoft, or Facebook, or Amazon, or smaller countries, smaller companies. Okay, NVIDIA, or including smaller companies. So typically what they do, industrial coding, web pages, writing, maybe Linux kernels, writing, database, financial systems, banking, these are kind of typical, okay? Now these are different from scientific programming, okay? Scientific programming is kind of different, and engineers, they need to solve equations, okay? They need to do a lot of mathematics, solve equations, integrals, or solve matrix equations, differential equations, physics, or design of car engines, design of all sort of things. So those people are very different from the typical, the bulk of programmers in the industry. So the bulk of programmers are the Java, the C++, Java, game programming, networking, these. So they are like the bulk of average programmers, okay? They are not engineers, nor are they scientists. They are not physicists. They are not mathematicians. They just know coding, okay? They know, about operating system, depends on the person. They know about operating system, networking, web technologies, okay? So the bulk of programmers, these industrial coders, they are the bulk of Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and so on. So why don't they know this? And by the way, do you know where does the convention of 80 characters per line, like that, 80 characters per line came from? That came from the punch cards, 50 years ago. Because you got 80 holes per card, per row. That came from punch cards, okay? 80 characters per line. I've done several videos about this. Every time I do it, then some people they are my followers, but they don't get it. They say, "Xahlee, you are just wrong. How can you be so wrong?" They don't understand. So incredible. This thing is so incredible. Okay, about formatting, coding style, and lines of and the formatting style and automatic formatting. These kind of topics related. Okay, so why don't they? How come they don't understand? How come they never seen this technology? I mean, would you not want this technology? Things like that. Would that be? I mean, is it not better? And why should your line be 80 for 80 characters long? Because you got lots of problems. Then you don't have this auto wrap. Then so that means whatever 80 characters, that's hard formatted. That's another way to think of it is hard coded. Okay, you don't want hard coded. You want it to be flexible. Like HTML. You see, not like almost everything involving text is like that way, flexible, except the industrial code fuckheads and their code, C++, Java, JavaScript, and Perl, and so on, and particularly Python, the Guido van Rossum idiots. He went one step further. He actually forced every semantic must be hard coded. So Python, so in Python, the language, it's not possible to auto format at all. Like this will never happen, because the Python, the creator, made the language impossible to do this, because the indent is tied to the semantics of the language. Okay, so that's one extreme idiocy. So I was gonna say, so why are they like that? Industrial coders. Oh yeah. So let me briefly tell you why I think. Okay. So because they, the industrial coders, they are just like normal people. Like all of us are normal. Maybe I'm a bit not abnormal. Okay. But you see, most people are just normal people. So just like in the fashion industry, women or average person, they follow pop stars. In particular, this is pronounced in women or young girls or young women. Okay, young women, they follow pop stars. For example, in America, USA, the most famous is the Kardashians. The Kardashians. They gossip. What dress is she wearing today? Like for years, for decades, it's that way. What is the current fashionable hairstyle and dress? Especially so, women especially are into that. But men is similar. Okay, men is similar. Men do not particularly follow fashion, clothing stuff, but men do follow certain, trend or thinking patterns or what you should be doing, what is currently. So it's exactly the same way in coding. Because even if you are a programmer, you might think, oh, you might think you are different because because coding is very logical, requires thinking. Therefore, you think you don't follow fashions and fads, but actually you do. You do it very much. You follow since you began your career, you follow which programming is the latest, which programming can get you a job, which programming is the best. You look at go to Hacker News or Slashdot like 25 years ago, or Reddit, you check, you talk with other people. Or what is the current, lead code? Coding golf, or you participate, So why industrial programmers are like that? Why didn't they know about these lots of things? Because just like anybody else, they follow fashion and fads. They follow the pop. Okay, that is what I think, my conclusion. Okay, that's a huge digression. Okay, now let's go back to coding this, shall we? Can we do this quickly? So I already talked for 40 minutes. Can we in 20 minutes finish it? I think so. Okay, so the rest of the video is gonna be, let's focus on coding it. Okay, so meanwhile, let's what to do now? Okay, let's make a copy. So let's code fresh. Okay, so we talked about that. Let's start to code. Let's uncommon this and delete that. Okay, now this is actually what we want to do. We want to now let's reformat version created. Okay, so update current define to be corresponding website. That is, copy the current define, find the corresponding website, local URL, file path, update the code in that file in the HTML pre-tag. That's right. Okay, so now we are back to code this. Okay, so we learned, mark define. Okay, mark define. So what does mark define return? Input type, so it just mark, it doesn't return anything, I think. Okay, so let's just do this quickly. So that mark define will mark it. then actually, so you need to find the URL. So yeah, so actually I don't want to mark different. Okay, so I want to so let's make it simple. Okay, so let's say Xahlee talk show. So this is today's talk show. Close, back to the code. What is this to do? Close. Yeah, so let's say this is a URL. Okay, make it Xah site and make it this quote is required. This kind of quote for the URL to be linked, so you can click on it, you'll jump to it. Okay, so let's say this page URL is that. Okay, so let's make it simple. Let's say if the current okay, let's do it quickly. Let's just say mark different. Okay, mark different, then copy. Okay, where is this? So mark different. Put the mark at end of this different. Point at beginning. Okay, so point at beginning, and so let's have a local variable begin end, and let's set begin point. Okay, then end is the last mark. Set x end is the mark position. Now how do you get the mark position? I forgot. Okay, so xahlee.info, search for Xah emacs tutorial. So emacs Lisp, so we go to emacs Lisp. So we want to know about the mark region, active region. Okay, so push mark, set mark, you want to get the mark. So region, active region, use region deactive, mark active, set mark command, pop mark, I think. Do I have a pop mark here? Okay, let's query pop mark. Okay, we do. So copy that. So we want just to pop mark. Okay, so what are the arguments? No arguments. Okay, good. Now, so now we got the beginning of the different and end of the function. Then we can now just deactivate the region. Okay, deactivate mark. Okay, okay, is there an argument? No. Okay, so deactivate it, then so let's say body is a text. Okay, buffer substring no properties. Okay, okay, set xbody to that text. Okay, so you grabbed it. Now you need to find the URL. So you need to find the URL. So what you do is you go to char x begin. Okay, go to the beginning of the different. Then you search for word for this URLs thing. Okay, so search for word that. Okay, optional bound. Yes, we want, we don't want to go over the end of defense. So x end, no arrow, true, no arrow. So if you cannot find it, arrow out. Okay, So search for that. So once you found that, then you want, okay, let's create another local variable xurl. Okay, then set xurl equals to bounds of thing at point. Okay, so stupid. Why don't I have URL here? URL should be one of that. So anyway, bounds of thing at point. Now why is it not colored? Something is wrong with my emacs Lisp mod. Okay, is it interesting? So okay, let's see emacs Lisp mod. So search for bounds of thing at point. Why is it not this function? It should be highlighted anyway. So get the URL, then okay, so actually that returns the bounds, so we need to have another local. Let's just say y. Okay, so that's the begin and end. So then you need to say y begin, set y begin equals then bounds. Okay, x bounds. Okay, x bounds is gonna be that. Okay, then set y car x bounds. Okay, then set y end color x bounds. That's how you get the. Now let's clean up the code. It's auto format. Okay, power of auto format. Okay, so you get the beginning and end position of the URL. So now you can set URL. Buffer substring no properties. Okay, then this is y begin and y end. Okay, so you got a URL. Now you go to char. Okay, so so now you go to char. The beginning of URL. Okay, you go to the beginning of URL, then you find file. Wait, why do you need to go to the beginning of URL? Okay, you got a URL, but now the problem is you need to convert this URL to a file path. Fuck. That's a bit complex because you need to convert this URL to a file path. Now, but that depends on each person, because for me, I got xahlee.info, which is special just for me. But for other people, it may not be, so you need some kind of map of domain name or web root. Okay, so I have a function to do that, but then that, but then you're just gonna call another code. But let's suppose this is a file path. Okay, let's just pretend for now. So I'm just gonna demonstrate how this works. So you got a URL, then you just let's say go to the beginning. Then you just so I got this command. So this command is called xa open file at cursor. Okay, so let's just call that command. So go to the beginning of the URL, then just call open file at cursor. Okay, so we basically open this page, showing browser. That's today's talk show. Okay, now go back. Now we open the file. So we opened it. Now go to char, point min, go to the beginning of buffer, then search forward, we want to search for word pre. Actually, we want to search for word pre something class, but actually what we need to actually search for word is the function name, okay? But there's more to do, so we need to grab the function name. We need to search to the end of different, then search to the beginning of paren and grab the function name, so that on this page you can go inside the pre. Is it getting complex? So you see on this page, you go to the inside of this pre, then you find the function name, which is, you see here. But so there's a lot to code. So anyway, so for now, go to beginning of buffer, then just search for class. That won't do, because, well, you gotta search for regular expression, because you basically what you want to do is you want to search for, let me show you. So you can see here is a pre-tag, so you want to search for the beginning of this pre-tag, then inside you want to search for the function name, but it must occur before the end tag of the pre. Okay, so you can call narrow to region. So this is another use of narrow to region. So you don't search beyond it. Then what you have to do is you just delete that text and paste the new the X body there. Okay. Okay, that's is it, do I have to finish it? I've been, so if you guys want me to, if you really want me to see the finished code, let me know, I'll code it. Otherwise, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Where do you see the overlap between Lin and Wolfram? They don't actually overlap much. Okay, so Diego asked the question, Lin is a proof system, and Wolfram language is a computer algebra system. They are quite very different in nature. Although it's possible they should be combined, but we are not there yet. So in few months ago, I talked about how I was learning Lin. That's an entire different topic. That's proof system. That's a programming language to do proofs for mathematics and also for program verification. So you can verify, your code is correct in critical situation, like nuke, launch nuke and stuff. So you got Lin is a proof system programming language, and Wolfram language is so-called computer algebra system. That's a classic name for it, meaning that it solves equations. It can do derivatives, integrals, matrix multiplication, matrix equation, differential equations. It's used by engineers mostly, and physicists and mathematicians. But it doesn't do proofs, it turned out. You see, that's a very interesting topic, because as a young mathematician, like 25, 30 years ago, when I was so heavily into math, I want to be a mathematician. I want to be the greatest. I failed. So when I was learning math, and I'm also so much into logic. And basically, pure math is all about proofs. Okay, pure mathematics, often regarded is the highest form of mathematics. You might have heard of the joke, like chemists say they are the greatest because chemistry is the foundation of materials. Then physicists says they are higher order. Physics is actually how chemistry works. Then comes mathematician. They are the god, because then you can't do physics without mathematics. Mathematics is how the universe works. So anyway, pure mathematics is usually in pure mathematics, it's basically all just about proofs. Okay, so that's and today you have computer Ling, it's a proof system. But anyway, when I was younger, I thought I'm very much into proof, pure mathematics. So I want study proofs, but also you need how do you solve differential equations? How do you solve equations like x plus 2 squared, x squared plus 2 equals to 4. Solve for x. That's a simple equation. You need, how do you solve it? Can get, extremely difficult because, differential equations, So there's so-called computer algebra systems. And Wolfram language is an example. Computer algebra systems, you can do proofs. I mean, you can do solve equations, but it turns out these two, they are not. I mean, they are both mathematics, but they are like very quite different in nature. Okay, so you can do proofs, but the nature is like entirely different from solving equations. If you solve equations, once you got a solution, then you can plug it back into the equation, then you can prove it is true. But usually, but sometimes for many problems you don't get a solution. So anyway, these two turns out are quite different in nature. But so I wrote an article like 15 years ago. There should be a system that combine these. Okay, let me talk about it. So just go to search computer algebra systems. Okay, so math notation, proof systems, computer algebra in one language. Okay, so this is written in 2009, 16 years ago. We are getting there, okay, but not today yet. So you got proof systems, that's one thing. You got math notational systems, that's LaTeX, like this, typesetting LaTeX, that's another thing. Then you got computer algebra system, like Wolfram language Mathematica, that's another thing. So why not combine them? They should be combined into one language, okay? So that's the idea, and we are starting to do it, but slowly. Okay, right now there's no system that do all these together, but it should be, because these obviously you got a programming language. Why can't you? There's no reason you cannot. Okay, so we are getting there. Okay, so that's about that, and let's see any other things. So we talked for 1 hour already. Time to shut down. Okay, so yeah, the question is there overlap between Ling and Wolfram? No, not really. I remember you mentioned you were working on proofs. Yes, I'm learning Ling system. I'm learning it. I don't, I got allowed to go. It's all ego, group out group mentality. Couldn't you see set queue sequence? No. You see, that's another major problem. That's ACP's question. Couldn't you use set sequence for the thing at point, bounds of thing at point? The answer is no. And I have an article on that. Okay, like just search, you'll find it. The answer is no, and why? Because the car and Kader and Lisp cons is the fundamental damage to Lisp. Okay, actually, I need to talk about that. Fundamental, like that's another extreme idiocy by the Lisp and Common Lisp fuckheads, codes. Okay, now let me say it again. The Common Lisp and Lisp fanatical fuckheads. I call them fuckheads because they are incorrect, and for 20 years and 30 years they refuse, to accept, but I can demonstratably show they are just incorrect. Okay, so let's go to search. Okay, so let me show you that. First of all, let me address this thing at point. So that's a good question. Okay, get text problem of thing at point there. Okay, problem of thing at point. So behavior depends on syntax table. That's one thing. Then return a const pair there. Okay, that's address your question. So so the situation is that we have set queue, right? Set sequence. Okay, if you don't know, forget about it. But if you know already, if you already code Lisp, then you know what I'm talking about. There's this set sequence set queue, which is so if you know another language such as Clojure, Python, JavaScript, this is called destructure binding. Okay, destructure binding. It allows you to set a bunch of variables from a list or vector or array. Okay, so you don't have to manually, like what we are doing, set begin at that, then set end at that, then, manually extract items from a list or array. Okay, so that's called destructure binding. That's available in Python, in JavaScript, in Clojure, in lots of languages. Okay, emacs Lisp added it about set sequence about seven years ago or something. Okay, in emacs 28 2021. Okay, actually just 4 years ago. Okay, late when every other language already has it. Okay, so it's great. So now you can have destructure binding to, you don't have to manually extract array items, then so like that, set sequence, then x1 x2, then to a array. Okay, but however, the bounds of thing at point, they don't return a list, nor do they return a vector. They return this const pair, the fucking scum Lisp fuckheads const pair. So when you use set sequence, it doesn't work. Because set sequence expect a sequence, which means any of list, this is data structure, hierarchy in emacs Lisp, list or associative list, property list, or array or vector string, you expect a generic, sequence type or collection, but it cannot take, const pair is not. But the Lisp idiots, like for example, Hacker News, recently, about a month ago, 2 weeks ago, xahlee, I'm about to die. That's 2011. Okay, these scums, you see, they attack me because especially this Lisp M guy, they whose name is it's a German guy. I talked about in my live stream in the past, but anyway. Okay, let's just open that and then click not Ergo Emacs. Okay, so not that page. So about 3 weeks ago, someone posted my article to what page is that? Not Ergo Emacs. That domain is kind of obsolete. Anyway, so you can find the article by. Okay, I'm kind of still talking. So, programming blog, search for hacker. Oh, there it is. There. Okay, so recently, that's the article. So someone posted one of my article, to Hacker News, not me. Okay, I never post my stuff. I never post anything to Hacker News, except I did comment one time about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So someone posted my article, problem of Lisp const. Then you got a bunch of Lispers. These are common Lisp, professionals. They don't understand. they don't understand. Because I don't know nothing. This they don't understand. But except the Zoomer generation or anyone not from Lisp, for example, Python coder, they understand. Okay, except the people who attack me, they don't understand what I'm talking about. Are these Lisp coders, not just Lisp code, but they are like professional. They've been coding Lisp for a long time. They are like the cultists. Okay, that's these people. That I always have a problem with these these code fanatical fuckheads. They don't understand, but everybody else understand what I'm saying. In fact, some people read my article and argued with them and cited my reason, like rephrased my reason to counter what they are saying. This Lisp, especially common Lisp, these fuckheads. Okay, they don't understand for some reason. Because I know what's the reason. I thought about this for 20 years. Because code. Okay, once you are in code. Similarly, like right now here, we are criticizing Lisp. But the Python coders who are not professional Lisp coders, they understand what I mean. Or C or C++, they understand what I mean. But when I criticize Python people, then it is the Python fanatics, like who are leading Python, who have done, lots of stuff. Then they don't understand, they funny. So this is a concrete example, bound of thing at point. Why can't I use a set sequence? Because it's using the cons vac, the cons pair. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. I have a question in Helix. I don't know what is Helix. Okay, I think that's another editor. I don't know about it. It's a functionality where we can select inside the bracket and outside. Okay, I'm also coding in Lean. Praveen Kuman. Oh, fantastic. I do drop logic proofs in Lean. Proposition logic. Okay, fantastic. Do you think if we formalize enough knowledge in Lean, we can generate new theories using AI? Yes, it's coming. So the proof system and AI is also coming together. That's another thing. Yeah. Okay, bye guys. We shut down in 1 minute. Okay, so if you enjoyed my comedy show, go pay me. Okay, go to xahlee.info. xahlee.info. At the bottom, you can see my Patreon, my Amazon gift card. Donate to me, PayPal. If you have a job, pay me $100 one shot. $100 a year, not too bad. If you don't have a job, $10 something. Thank you very much. That's it for today. Okay, so that's today we did a sizable rant, here and there, which is not too bad because, like usually when you talk about just coding and focused, like nobody cares. But when you become dramatic, then your viewers went up. Anyway, so we didn't finish the code, but we explained how it works and stuff. We explained quite a few things, and so I'm gonna update this talk show page so people on YouTube can click on the description section and go to my website. Okay, that's it. Bye guys. Damask says, hey, Praveen, ACP. So I hope to come to the day soon. So we are in incredible world right now. The advancement of AI and then the proof systems and computer algebra systems such as Wolfram, still tremendous update. So the merge of proof systems and computer algebra systems and AI is coming. Actually, they are heavily, like right now, they are heavy, really heavy working on it. You can imagine because the neural network, the AI is actually kind of, we don't know for sure, but it's like taking over. It's like the most important technology, almost like the most important technology because they just, they're just taking over. And then because one of the fatal flaw of AI, like the chatbots, is because they are using neural networks. which means they can never be precise. They cannot even do simple computations. If you ask ChatGPT or Grok to do simple multiplication of two huge numbers, he'll get it wrong. But you'll say, oh, because this, that, and therefore the answer is that, but it's just wrong. Okay, so a fatal problem, a kind of fundamental problem of neural network technology is that they cannot do computation like the simple one, even simplest one. So that is why it becomes, so that is why they are, the researchers are trying to work together, combine proof systems with AI. So you can, use AI to get answer, then and start a proof system or code Python to do computation or proof systems to try to prove it. So you got different technologies trying to work to actually, Google just created using their AI to solve math Olympiad problems right now, and together with Lean. So right now they are at championship level. I talked about this in a live stream a few months ago. They are at championship level. That means today, the AI and plus the proof system, the machine can do Olympic level mathematical problems, can solve them better than vast majority of talented young person or mathematician. We are at that level, and the future we don't know. So it's very hard to say. Bye.